Hello, I'm so glad that you could join with me today. Took a day to rest and recuperate yesterday, as Spirit advised me to do, feeling much more rejuvenated and in touch with myself. Just doing my own reading this morning. It's interesting always when I pull cards for myself before I do these collective reads. I do every day, but um, it often reflects in the cards that I then pull for the collective. So I've always said that the cards are a tool for us to navigate through the energies that are coming through us in the universe. And um, as we are fractals of the whole, we are often finding ourselves aligned with others who are experiencing similar types of energies. So I hope that you had an opportunity to write some intentions, to release some things that were no longer for you coming into the new year, into this next moon cycle, and also have set these intentions to what it is that you would like to achieve. Now, we've got three of the probably most impactful cards in the deck. you can't you can't really have a soft message here, okay? We're closing out a cycle, and it was a tough one. Now, to speak gently on the subject, um, so much of this last cycle was about you coming to terms with the amount of work and effort required for you to have the kind of life that you want. You had to make a lot of sacrifices. You had to be consistent. You had to balance your energy. Um, and while there are a number of aspects of life that have just grown to a level that you feel very satisfied with, there's some things that you know just can't continue. You're going to close out even more cycles. You're going to wrap up even more this year. You know without a doubt that you are not the same person you were before. You have come so far already in achieving goals, in improving aspects of life that you wanted to improve, and you know there's more. You feel confidently that going forward, you're not going backwards, that's for sure. You're not going back to where you used to be. This is a setting sun on the life that you used to live in a very confident way. While there are many more cycles for you to pursue, you've also accepted that you can't be who you used to be anymore. And you've started to really recognize and love the person that you're becoming. This is an opportunity for us to thank and love and grieve and release the person that we used to be, because that person got us to this point. Take a moment to thank that person for all the efforts that they made, all the sacrifices that they made, all the hard work that they put into getting you to you. We want to send them off and lay them to rest in the kindest and most gentlest ways, while at the same time preparing ourselves to embrace what's to come. Now, without a doubt, the efforts that have been put into place here uh, to facilitate these changes and continue these changes have been great efforts. There is also here a message of the kind of strength that requires you keeping your energy in, keeping your energy to the self, recognizing when battles are not your battles to fight. That sometimes requires a different kind of strength that isn't obvious to other people. It's not something that you see outward. You may have noticed this in maybe some of your the elder members of your community, your family, where you'll see them handle difficulties and grief by a stoic type of energy, where they're not releasing it, they're instead holding back. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't grieve and they don't feel those emotions. They simply recognize when it's an appropriate time for them to be able to release those emotions. If you trigger these types of people, you won't immediately see a reaction from them. Instead, you'll see them pull back from you, put space between the situation and themselves. And that's what this card is talking about. This card is talking about knowing when we should be putting space between ourselves and the situation, when we should be protecting our energy. And the type of strength that's required to do that is just as immense as the strength to push forward, to stand up for yourself, to fight when you need to fight. In this situation, Spirit is asking us to choose these areas, choose the time, choose the environment, choose the audience that we share our true, authentic selves with. In some situations, you're going to be going in, they're going to be new, they're going to be different. And we want to actually just kind of observe and give space to these things without putting our all into it immediately. Let's use some discernment going forward. Now, our Temperance card is a reminder that cycles include all aspects. It is not without the difficulties that we can truly appreciate all that we have to celebrate. You would not have known the difference. You'd have continually sat in your situation and been like, well, this is all there is, until you had a difficulty. And then you said, man, I wish I could have got back to that. And then you found yourself striving to grow and to continue to push forward. And you found that situation got better. And then you very much had a new appreciation for that situation. You had a relationship that you were dissatisfied with. It was good. It was good. It's okay. You stopped putting that same level of energy into it, or perhaps you grew apart. And then you found yourself dealing with situations alone, trying to find a partner or a relationship that matched the energy of that one. And it just wasn't quite it. You found yourself reflecting on the greatest aspects of that and knowing that those were standards that you couldn't allow yourself to leave behind anymore. You truly found a level of appreciation so that when you did have that same type of connection again in the future, you were able to recognize it and have a whole different level of appreciation for that kind of connection. Your living situation. You may have lived in the absolute most beautiful homes and not realized how incredible they were until you experienced something that was not up to those standards. When you were able to get back into that situation of a home that had this level of baseline standards that you've considered um, comfortable, you then had that whole different appreciation again. Remember with this cycle that we're going to have those ups and downs, and it's very important for us to stay appreciating, stay recognizing the cycles, allow them to flow, allow them to consistently move so that we can always have that state of appreciation and gratitude. That is the absolute greatest strength, is appreciating and loving the cycles that we're on, every aspect of them. We're coming into this card pull with a new rejuvenated energy, recognizing the universe to be a place full of miracles, full of beauty, full of all types of abundance, and recognizing that all of us do not have the same needs in our life. So while we find abundance in some places in our lives, say you have an abundance of love, you feel very loved, you feel supported, but what you lack are material resources. You find it difficult to think about the possibility that life can provide you with everything that you need easily because you think, well, I'm not the only person that has this need of resources. Well, you're not the only person. But the abundance that you have in your life is something that can be shared with others. And so there is a reciprocation here. The universe is saying you have this abundance of love and joy, and you share that with others. And so the universe thanks you in turn with providing you with the things that you need. Not everybody needs financial resources. Not everybody needs a safe place to live. Some of us have that and have the gratitude and appreciate this thing so that the universe can provide abundance in the things that we feel we are lacking. What's important is that we open ourselves up to receive these things, that we recognize that miracles are possible, that there are ways that the universe can provide that we could not possibly understand or see from our perspective. There are so many different ways that the universe can surprise us. It's not just with um, these magical fantasy type things. Sometimes a miracle is simply coming into contact with a new person and making a new connection and finding that this connection opens up a pathway to receive the types of things that will lead us to what it is that we need. The miracle is in that the universe saw what we truly needed and provided that pathway for us. There was never any lack of that. It was just our inability to see that pathway clearly. And so the universe provided the miracle for us to see that pathway. Now, with the abundance, we are recognizing that there is a never ending supply of everything that we require in this life that already exists. And without a doubt, you are more than deserving of everything that you need to be as joyful and as blissful and as fulfilled as everyone else. The difference in some of our cases is that we are hesitant to allow these miracles in because we feel as though we are not deserving. We feel as though we may have enough and just getting by. But what if you had more? What would you do with that? What if you allowed the universe to shower abundance upon you in a way that you had so much extra you didn't even know what to do with it? What would you do then? An overwhelming sense of gratitude. And because of the cycles that you've come through, undoubtedly, you would find a way to shower those blessings and share with others, then becoming their miracle. You would be the pathway for them to see the abundance. You would be their miracle. So, with these cards, the universe wants us to open up and consider that these pathways of connections, that our genuine and authentic exchanges and interactions provide us with everything we need and more. And it provides us with everything we need and more so that we can continue to bless each other in the ways that we're able. Be willing to receive everything that you deserve and more so that you can continue this cycle of abundance and miracles. For this final pull for today, we have two cards that very much complement each other. We have Your Life is a Canvas, you're the artist. This is about manifestation and creative accountability. And then we have the Parrot for watching your words. Everything that we speak about and we think about, we bring about. You are the artist. You are working the canvas of your life. And so you speak about things that can or would transpire. In using these words, you're casting spells over your life. If you say, I can't see an easy way through this problem, you have then put the blinders on to be unable to see through this problem. Perhaps that problem was something that you foresaw and put into play. And the universe did so in order to help you recognize that blinder that you had placed on yourself, that you had used those words to create the situation. And now the challenge and the test is for you to open your mind up to the possibilities of that solution. Stop using those limiting words. Stop using that limiting mindset. This card wants us to pay very close attention to how we speak in our mind, to ourselves, about other people. As we have opinions about other people, we are creating situations for ourselves to learn from. As you judge another individual for the life that they are living, even for problems that you feel very strongly that they brought on themselves because of their own creative accountability, you have put yourself in a position to learn the lesson that that individual is learning, just to teach you a lesson, just to make sure that you don't cast judgment on that individual. When we look at individuals who are experiencing abundance and we think, well, that's not fair, we have created a situation where we will find ourselves experiencing much more abundance in a certain area and then realize that within that there are going to be challenges as well. We were not in a position to have an opinion about what it would be like to be in that other person's shoes. So the universe made sure that we experience it. There was a time when I was very frustrated with an individual I was in business with. How dare he approach the situation in this way? And he didn't even deserve this situation. He only got into this situation because of this thing he experienced, and it was just handed to him. Not understanding the type of difficulties and pain he had experienced getting there. And then later, I experienced the same exact circumstance where I then was placed with the type of suffering that he had endured. And all I could think about was how stupid I was to think that he had just been handed anything. The universe gave him what he needed. Because I wasn't able to see that, it then gave me what I needed. It gave me perspective. I then watched other individuals who seemed to think that my suffering was invalid for some reason, or however it is that they saw it. I can't speak for them, but I then watched them endure the kind of situations and suffering that I had endured. And for a moment, I thought, oh, that's what you get. And then I thought, oh my goodness, that right there. I don't want to approach the universe with that kind of energy. That's what you get. So pompous, so egotistical. It is, unfortunately, what we bring upon ourselves. And I felt then in that moment a type of love for them. Oh, I remember being there. I was a little bit too arrogant in that situation. And I wish that someone had been able to bring me down a notch in a more gentle way. I hope that then I was able to convey to them that I hope that the experience that they're having would help them with the clarity and find the path that they needed to be able to manifest the type of life they desired as it did for me. Because there was a lot of joy that ended up coming out of that situation once I did wake up to the type of energy that I was putting into it. I had to take accountability for the life that I created, and that included the way that I thought about other people's lives. Because every time that I had some ignorant thought about someone else and the life they were experiencing, the universe saw fit to make sure that I understood the perspective needed. You don't know what it's like to walk in another person's shoes. And in some cases, it's better that you don't. Some cases, it's better that we just look at that person and say, "Oh, bless them. I hope that they are finding and experiencing everything they need in this moment." I am truly grateful for the experiences that I've had, the path that I've walked, the lessons that I've learned. It has shown me how responsible I am for the life that I live. All of my mindset, all of my thinking has changed me drastically. It has shown me something different, and it all stemmed from how I was talking about other people. The way that we communicate to others is the way that we want to be communicated to ourselves. So if we remember that, if we remember to have a little bit of restraint, to step back, to put some space between your reactive emotions and put yourself in the shoes of another person, and then talk to them as you would like to be talked to. Because if you don't, you're going to find out what that accountability is going to be like in that next situation. So let us close this cycle and close this reading with the acknowledgement that we are only the sum of the experiences that we have had, and that that is just a tiny, tiny fragment of the whole. But we can share in this experience in a much more kind, gentle, and compassionate way. Just by acknowledging the power that our words have and our thoughts have, we can make the biggest impact, and not just those around you, but in reflection on your own life. Thank you so much for being here with me. Have a happy new year.